Did childhood trauma break your highly sensitive brain? Because we feel things so deeply, highly sensitive people are especially vulnerable to trauma. After researching it for the last 5 years, I've learned the 5 debilitating ways complex trauma changes your brain. But there's good news as well. Once you understand these changes, you can stop feeling like a victim and take charge of your healing with simple habits that I've cherry picked for highly sensitive people. If you'd like to understand the full impact of CPTSD on you, I've made a free AI tool that tells you exactly how traumatic your childhood was. You just answer some questions and it gives you a score out of 100. Do check it out. Here's exactly how trauma affects your highly sensitive brain. The first change makes you overwhelmed with emotions like fear, anxiety, and rage. It has to do with a part of your brain called amygdala. It's an almond shaped part which gives signal to activate the fight, flight, or freeze response. Basically, amygdala is your brain's smoke alarm. It keeps an eye out for dangers in your surrounding and helps you be safe through fighting, running away, or freezing. So let's say you're trekking and you see a snake. You immediately jump away without conscious thought. That is because of your amygdala. After trauma, your amygdala becomes more sensitive and hyperactive. So the smoke alarm is much more likely to be active and be activated at things that might not even be dangerous. So for instance, I get startled a lot by sudden loud noises like a dog barking or even firecrackers. Fuck Diwali. Us highly sensitive people have it worse here. In a certain study, HSPs were shown certain pictures and their brain was scanned for neural activity. When these people were shown negative images, it was noticed that there was more activity in the amygdala as compared to the regular people, which shows how HSPs feel unpleasant emotions more strongly, thus compounding the effect of trauma. The second change makes you illogical. And that's not just an insult, literally. Trauma shrinks your prefrontal cortex, which is the logical part of your brain. It's the part of your brain that helps you with emotional regulation. It's like this mature parent inside your brain who helps you deal with emotional situations more objectively and maturely. So if you see a snake on your trek again and you immediately jump away, but then you later notice it was really a rope looking like a snake, your prefrontal cortex will calm you down. It will literally calm down your amygdala. But trauma shrinks this part of your brain, which then hinders your ability to regulate your emotions. Ideally, in highly sensitive people, the prefrontal cortex is also more active along with the amygdala so that it can regulate those strong emotions. But in the same study which I just mentioned, when participants were shown negative images and they had a healthy, supportive childhood, their prefrontal cortex was also active, which allowed them to regulate that emotion. Although that was absent with a traumatic childhood, which compounds its effect. Do you often have flashbacks from the past or have no memory of your childhood beyond a certain age? That is what the third change is about. Trauma shrinks your hippocampus, which is the part of your brain responsible for forming memories. It's like this librarian that arranges memories nicely on your brain shelves. This is why people with heavy trauma often don't remember their childhoods and have frequent flashbacks. Because a flashback is really just your hippocampus not being able to distinguish a past memory from the present. And these memories from the past re-trigger the amygdala and the alarm goes off again. You can see how this becomes a vicious cycle, a dangerous loop, especially for a sensitive person. The fourth change makes you emotionally immature. Trauma disrupts the communication between the insula and cingulate cortex. Here's what that means. There's an intelligence in your body that Gabor Mate calls gut instincts or gut feelings. These are essential for you to live authentically and thrive. It's like your internal compass. Trauma messes with this compass and disrupts your ability to recognize sensations or emotions in your body. This is the reason why people with heavy trauma get completely disconnected from their bodies. This is also the entire premise of this book. Before we look at the final way trauma affects your sensitive brain, one thing that was a revelation for me on my healing journey was that as highly sensitive people, we don't have to experience major traumatic events like abuse or accidents for these changes to happen in our brains. Even normal day-to-day things can amount to trauma. And because my goal is to empower highly sensitive people, I've created this test that I mentioned in the beginning. I took it myself and was surprised by the result. So if you'd be interested in that, do check it out. Does it ever feel like you're carrying this invisible tension and anything can become a last straw that breaks you down or make you snap? The final way trauma affects your brain is by keeping your brainstem stuck in fight and flight. The brainstem is the part of your brain that governs the most basic functions of your body, like breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure. So when amygdala signals a threat, the brainstem is what activates the fight and flight. So for instance, a deer gets chased by a lion, its brainstem activates the fight or flight response. But when the deer returns to safety, the brainstem switches back to rest and digest response, which is its default. But trauma causes your brainstem to get stuck in this fight-flight nervous system response for years. And that leads to things like stress, overwhelm, and even depression in the long run, and a lot of autoimmune diseases. And with a hyperactive amygdala and an underactive hippocampus, you can see how this just feeds into the same loop. Here are 5 proven ways to heal. You must understand that your brain is not defective or broken because of trauma. All of what we discussed were just signs that your brain worked perfectly and still works perfectly till this day to protect you. It was a completely normal response of your brain to abnormal circumstances in your childhood. But the beautiful quality of your brain is that it's plastic. That is, it changes till the day you die. You can use this neuroplasticity to take charge of your past, heal, and reach your potential as a highly sensitive person. Research also hints at how HSP's brain might be more plastic than the regular people, which is amazing news for us. So here are easy habits that are proven to be effective. Mindfulness practices, especially body focused, are super effective to undo these effects of trauma. A body focused, emotion focused meditation helped me a lot personally. But practices like yoga, tai chi are also proven by research to help. Even something as simple as a 2-minute breath focused meditation increases the size of your prefrontal cortex. Breathing exercises like coherent breathing are a beautiful way to relax the brain stem and activate the parasympathetic nervous system response, which governs rest and digest. And that in turn makes you feel safe in your body. Journaling is something that is very close to my heart. It's literally a brain workout that activates every part of your brain, especially the prefrontal cortex. So let's say I get emotionally triggered by something. Writing about those emotions gives me a sense of objectivity over them. And it also calms down my amygdala, which in turn reinforces the fact that I am indeed safe in the present moment. But if you'd like to dive deeper into healing and want more concrete steps, watch this video next where I talk about the 3 most powerful techniques, tools that I've discovered in the last 5 years of healing.